This week on Christian World
to
News.
see human bones, to see the clothes of the people who lost their lives here. It just speaks to the brutality of ISIS.
We bring you to the killing fields of northern Iraq.
Plus, 3 Christian missionaries tortured and martyred in Turkey. Nearly 10 years later, their killers are still free while the families wait for justice. We'll talk with the wife of one of the victims.
And an illiterate underdog who rose from the slums to become a chess champion. See how God transformed her life in this true story, now in theaters. And hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Christian World News. I'm George Thomas.
And I'm Wendy Griffith, and we want to welcome our very special guest right from Jerusalem, our Middle East Bureau Chief, Chris Mitchell. Great to see you, Chris.
Great to see you, Wendy, George. Great to be with you.
It's awesome to have you here. Hey, listen, you are just back from the front lines of northern Iraq, engaging with ISIS. A lot of activity, a lot of excitement.
That's right. We were about 600 yards away from ISIS positions. We were with the Yazidis. We were with many Christians that have been persecuted and lost their homes, now going into their 3rd year. So it was quite a trip.
Well, Chris, we are glad you are back safe with us, and you also saw some disturbing sights and places where ISIS carried out these atrocities.
That's right. We went to a mass grave, Wendy, with Yazidis, and we saw there, and I think we actually have a clip right now of some of the time we spent there at a mass grave site for the Yazidi people.
Hi, this is Chris Mitchell, and we're just outside the city of Sinjar right now, and I'm stepping over the fence of what has become a mass grave site. There's 28 of these in this area, and I believe there were a number of killed here. 1,500 Yazidis in all were killed. Most of them were men, many others women and children. And the test for young boys was if they raised their arm and they had any underarm hair, they could be killed. We're here with Dave Eubank and his son Pete from the Free Burma Rangers, and they've been so kind to help us get here, and we're doing a story on what's happened in Sinjar, and we interviewed Dave about what's happened here, and one of the powerful things that he said, you know, this could be our daughter, this could be your daughter. This is just an atrocity. I have to say, this is the first mass grave I've ever been to, and it's a pretty moving sight to see human bones, to see the clothes of the people who lost their lives here. It just speaks to the brutality of ISIS, but certainly these are not the first mass graves in history. There's been far too many of these kind of sites.
My goodness. So, Chris, you were right outside of Sinjar, standing there. I mean, what were you feeling?
Well, it was sobering. As I said there, I'd never been to a mass grave site, and I've certainly heard of them, saw pictures of them, but to be there, it was quite sobering. Not only to see, you can literally see human bones lying on the ground. What struck me even more than the bones were the clothes. When I saw clothes, I thought, well, these people, these are the clothes they had when they were killed by ISIS. Some of the bones had been smashed in. We talked to an eyewitness that was, as we were leaving, an eyewitness came by and told us he saw some of the buses drive up there, the people were taking off and then murdered. So it's a sobering reminder of how evil ISIS is and why they need to be stopped.
How close was ISIS to you at that point?
At that point, maybe about 1,000 yards away. We were in 2 places there.
Sniper distance.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, sniper distance, exactly. We're at 3 places there at the mass grave site, maybe a little further away. Later on, we went to a frontline position with ISIS, and they said about 1,000 yards away. Impossible sniper distance, certainly mortar distance, and we were also in a place near Bashika, another Yazidi village, and actually at that time we were in mortar range, and there was 2 mortars that hit not too far from us, about 300 or 500 yards. But being on the front lines it's invaluable, I guess, to get a sense of what the battle that we're facing. It's not just there in Kurdistan. It could be on 23rd Street in New York City. It could be in Orlando. It's the kind of battle that we face right now.
Now, Sinjar.
Right.
Does ISIS still control most of that?
No, Sinjar has been liberated in November of 2015, but they're just, about, we were in a position about 3 miles outside the city, and that's where ISIS was about 1,000 yards away. And this is the battle line, the front line. The big thing, Wendy, right now is people preparing for the offensive against Mosul, which is Iraq's second largest city. That's going to be a huge next phase in the battle against ISIS.
The Iraqi people that you met there near Sinjar, do they have hope? Do they see themselves being able to get back to life as normal? Is that even possible?
Well, not like they had for maybe many years, maybe even decades. There's talk about actually having a new Sinjar. If you go into the city itself, it's devastated. And it looks like something out of a World War II when some of these cities were carpet bombed.
And we're seeing
right now, this is Christian, this is some footage from a Christian refugee camp. And their plight right now, Wendy, I think is really something that Christians need to know around the world, that they're now going into their third year of being a refugee outside of from ISIS, and they're losing hope. And right now, Christianity itself, as we've known it in northern Iraq, is in the balance because a lot of these people are getting so discouraged they want to leave. In 2003, there were over 1 million Christians in Iraq. Now there's maybe 200,000. Wow. So if they start leaving, I mean, Christianity itself. But there is signs of hope. We talked to a Catholic priest who said, you know, we need to be the salt and light for Iraq, and I think that's part of the good news that's happening.
Well, are Christians brave enough to go over there and help? Are there Christian groups there?
Well, there are Christian groups there. Samaritan's Purse is one of the people that we talked to, and they're helping with a medical clinic right outside of that refugee camp. There are Christian groups that are mobilizing prayer, and that's the one thing that Christians always ask for, I think, is people, please pray for us and so that we can be strong. The other thing I think that's important is to raise their voice for the Christian people there in northern Iraq. And I think too often the church has been silent. And another thing, Wendy, that there is a talk of a safe zone in the Nineveh Plains for Christians and other ethnic minorities. And one priest said to us, unless they have a safe zone, he doesn't think there's much of a future left of Christianity in northern Iraq because they're just afraid. They don't trust the government, and there's so many groups that really want to eradicate Christians. You
said something earlier about ISIS atrocities happening in New York, happening in different parts of our country, as we've seen. Is the solution to take care of them over there so they don't come over here? Well, that's part of the solution. And I think what we were hearing right there, ISIS as a military force in Syria and Iraq is coming, they're going to have their own demise. And yet they're morphing into a group that will probably send thousands of fighters back to the U.S., back to Europe. So I think we're not going to see, the ideology certainly hasn't diminished, but as a fighting force there, it is ending. But we're going to see probably more terror attacks in the West. Well, thanks for going to the front lines for us, and thanks for coming back safe. Okay. God bless you. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, George. Wendy.
Up next, her husband was murdered by radical Islamists. 9 years later, the men responsible for the murder have been arrested and sentenced to life. Our interview with the widow of one of the Malatya martyrs.
Inside every child is a hero, a leader, a friend to others, someone who helps out, who does the right thing, who dreams of what they can be, but they still need our help.
What should I do? What should I say? How should I feel?
That's where Superbook comes in. It provides moral and spiritual truths through situations children can relate to, teaching God's Word to the children you love. Join the Superbook DVD Club and receive Superbook's newest episodes as they're available, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25. Get Superbook today and watch the miracles happen.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. 8 years ago, my husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphans Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
3 Christian men were brutally tortured and murdered nearly a decade ago in Malatya, Turkey. Now, a Turkish criminal court has finally sentenced the 5 men responsible to life in prison. The long overdue verdict sent shockwaves, but the fight for justice is not over. The men were living free until just a few days ago, and they are appealing the case.
German citizen Tilman Geske was one of the men brutally murdered that day on April 18, 2007. Days after the horrific event, Tilman's wife, Susanna, publicly forgave her husband's killers. In fact, her act of kindness stunned the predominantly Muslim nation of Turkey. Joining us via Skype is Susanna Geske. Great to have you on the broadcast. Susanna, how are you and the kids doing?
Thanks a lot. We're doing very well.
You know, the 5 men responsible for killing your husband have been sentenced to life in prison. How do you feel about this? 9 years later, you've been waiting for justice. How do you feel?
Actually, we feel released because we had so many years to wait for this final end. And last time we thought it was it. Now, this time they really made an end. So it's great to have it finished up.
Susanna, can you talk a little bit about the healing process that you have gone through the last 9 years?
Yeah, in the beginning, I really didn't know what happened to me, and I had lots of people around me, so they really helped me to go through all these different stages of this time. So the most of it, I was reading the Bible and praying and reading the Psalms, and especially Psalm 119 and Job. So and I had lots of people helping me through normal things, daily things, and then also to forgive people and to have established a new church really helped me. So
do you ever think you will go back? Are you hoping to go back to Turkey?
Oh yes, I'm only here because of my daughter.
And why do you want to go back? I mean, this is the land where 5 men killed your husband. Why do you want to go back?
Because I love the people there. I really love them, and I love the place. So I really want to go back there.
And the kids have all grown up in the last years. They're there in Germany, in college. Tell us real quickly how they're doing.
Oh, they're fine. My eldest is in Ankara, Turkey, studying their English teacher. My son is in Munich, doing well, and my daughter's here in Frankfurt with me, and she tries to finish high school.
Days after, as I mentioned, days after the attack, you publicly forgave your husband's killers. Susanna, what prompted you to do that?
Actually, it was the Lord Jesus Christ. They asked me to say something in the television, and I said I can't. But then I prayed a quick prayer, and I just heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Say that," and I just did it.
You know, Christians across the Middle East today are suffering for their faith. You know what it's like to experience persecution firsthand. How do you pray for Muslims?
Oh, I pray that they find the love of God, that they can see that God, Allah, that He is really love, and that He loves them as well. This is my biggest prayer.
Okay, Susanna, 9 years later, after a horrific act of murder against your husband, you still continue to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ in love. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Beautiful interview. Still ahead, the amazing story of the rise of a world-class chess champion from the most unlikely spot on Earth.
In the beginning was the Word.
From CBN, The Gospel of John. Read by Pat Robertson.
For God so loved the world that He gave His one and only Son.
Let the spoken word of God transform your mind and increase your faith. Receive the power of God's life-giving word. The Gospel of John. Read by Pat Robertson. Available now.
Hello, I'm Terry Mewson. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. 8 years ago, my husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphans Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
When you give, smiles grow bigger. When you care, homes are happier. When you comfort, the hurt goes away. When we all come together to love, miracles happen.
An unlikely tale of hope and triumph hits movie theaters here in the United States this weekend. The Queen of Katwe is a story about a poor girl's victory over unimaginable odds. Born in the slums of the African nation of Uganda without food or a book to read, Fiona Mutesi's rise from poverty to international chess champion, well, it is nothing short of miraculous. Fiona told CBN's Ephraim Graham her success was part of God's plan all along.
I feel like everything that has happened right now is because of God who has been behind everything. Yeah.
So he had this plan for you.
Yeah.
This movie is meant to bring hope to the children still left in the slums of Uganda and to audiences around the world.
Well, long before the movie Queen of Katwe was in production, CBN had a chance to tell Fiona's amazing story. Here's reporter Wes Rickards with more.
To be African is to be an underdog in the world. To be Ugandan is to be an underdog in Africa. To be from Katwe is to be an underdog in Uganda. To be a girl is to be an underdog in Katwe.
Located in the shadows of the Ugandan capital of Kampala, Katwe is, in all sense of the word, a slum. It's a place where refugees were shooed because no one else wanted to live there. The place is a literal sewer. Crime is rampant, as is drug use and prostitution. Half of all teenage women are mothers. They say if you're born in Katwe, you die in Katwe.
Life in Katwe is very challenging, I would say, because the people who actually live in Katwe are people who have no choice. If they had a choice, they can't be in Katwe. And it's the only area that they can afford to be in. Sometimes it's hard even to explain how people really stay there.
Every day at 6 a.m., Robert Katende arrives here, a rundown structure that doesn't look too out of place here in Katwe. The building is called Agape Church, which is part of a U.S.-based ministry called Sports Outreach. Katende is the ministry director here.
I very much believe that, more especially when it comes to the children and the youth, everyone loves to play, for sure. But many times, people are not given the opportunity. And some of these children always don't have a chance to even play because they are always struggling to survive.
As you can imagine, sports is heavy on the agenda here. The boys take quickly to soccer, and dozens of children show up every morning. Many of them don't go to school. Some are orphans. Few are homeless. All looking for guidance in their own way.
So when they come, the first thing is to try to show that you really care for them. You are there for them. You play together. You encourage. So eventually they get to bond with you. And then you're able to direct them to some other life they have never seen.
While soccer is popular, there are drawbacks. It can be fast. It can be violent. So not everyone joins in. Robert noticed that and started thinking of other ways to get everyone involved. Finally, he thought of a board game so foreign, there's not even a word for it in his native language. Robert was going to teach this game to a bunch of kids who didn't even know how to read.
Whatever you go through on that board actually is what we go through in our daily life. It requires strategy, it requires abstractive thinking, it requires concentration, focus, time management, everything. Talk about any concept. We need it in our life.
And one day, while talking to slum kids about pawns and rooks and kings, Robert noticed something. A 9-year-old girl in a window.
The first day, I just took her like any other child. In fact, when she came, my first question was, how will she feel at home?
To say Fiona Mutez was a 9-year-old might be a bit of a misnomer. The truth is, no one knows how old she was. We know that she was born in Katwe. We know her father died when she was about 3, possibly due to AIDS. And we know when she first appeared in the window, she had just walked several miles and was only looking for something to eat.
So that day, I remember I was very, very dirty. And I was always very, very hungry. So my brother came and told me about the chess program they always had. So that day I was able to learn chess and again even to get a meal.
Now, chess isn't an easy game to pick up. And when Fiona first started playing, she lost. A lot. But she still kept playing.
There was a boy who used to beat me every day. So one time I went to Coach Robert and he taught me how to defend that opening. So I went back to play this boy. When I played him, I happened to win him and he cried. From that day, that's when I said, I have to beat every boy.
And within that short time she had been in the program, I realized that there is something special with this girl. Like you could teach her something and she could easily pick it up.
What makes Fiona great, though, is that she has something that can't be taught. It's this instinct, this ability to see the right move many moves in advance, knowing that the wrong move could mean death. That's a lesson she learned growing up in Katwe.
Sometimes the environment they stay in teaches them to be very aggressive because the life there is more like survival of the fittest. And she was almost more playing the same way. So it was just to calm her down. Not every time that it's going to be attacking. You need to strategize, you need to plan well, get your pieces ready for that attack.
Within a year, Fiona was beating the boys at Agape Church, including Coach Robert. Soon she was visiting boarding schools and beating the kids there. Then she played university players and whipped them too. In 2007, 11-year-old Fiona Mutez won Uganda's junior championships and the national championships just a few years after that.
We shall live together. We shall live together. We shall live together someday.
Fiona Mutez is a Christian. It's a faith she learned at the Sports Outreach Mission, and it's one that's helped her survive in Katwe.
When I went to chess program, I was not a Christian before. I stayed there and I listened to the story. It was so interesting, so I kept on remaining every day for the stories.
In 2010, 14-year-old Fiona flew to Siberia with Uganda's national team for the world's most prestigious tournament, the Chess Olympiad. It marked only the second time she had left the country, and it became the first time the world laid its eyes on the young chess prodigy.
There are many things which have happened to me which I can't believe. Before I joined chess, I was living just in the slum and I thought everyone lived that kind of life.
The morning after she flew back to Uganda, Fiona returned home to a hero's welcome. And soon, they came calling. The writers, the reporters. Her story has been told by CNN, ESPN, and there's a book about her life. She's toured America, spoken to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, met Gary Kasparov. Disney is making a movie about her life. Her future is bright.
Sometimes I feel like I'm overwhelmed. It overwhelms me because it doesn't matter what I've passed through, because whatever I passed through, it's already gone now. I'm looking forward for my future.
Chess is her ticket out. From the slums, from the 10-by-10 hut she calls home that she shares with her mother and siblings. And if she can escape, she can lead others to follow her path.
I feel she's a source of hope. Many children go through the same life she's been in, but I think seeing her breaking that chain, I think it's more like an inspirational story for them. And I've always encouraged the children, I told them no excuses whatsoever. With God, everything is possible. The sky is the limit.
To be African is to be an underdog in the world. To be Ugandan is to be an underdog in Africa. To be from Katwe is to be an underdog in Uganda, and to be a girl is to be an underdog in Katwe. And yet, In Katwe, the unlikeliest place of all, the Queen stands tall.
Terrific story. And as we mentioned, Fiona's amazing story is now the subject of a major motion picture which opens this weekend here in the U.S. You can see more stories about cbnnews.com. You can go there to our website, and we'll be back right after this.
Hello, this is Pat Robertson. I've just finished recording one of the most beloved books in all the Bible, the Gospel according to John. I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. My hope is that you will use this recording to allow the Word of God to abide in you. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. Listen to it again and again and speak the words along with me. Let these great passages fill your heart as the Word of God transforms your mind and builds your faith.
Receive the power of God's life-giving Word, the Gospel of John, read by Pat Robertson, available now.
May God richly bless you as you meditate on Jesus.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life, life to the fullest. Life in your family, life in your finances, life in your body, mind, and spirit, life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Kids. We want them to grow up knowing God's Word. But in today's busy world, sometimes we could use some help. The free Superbook Kids Bible app has fun stuff your kids will love. They'll have a blast learning the Bible, playing great games, watching cool videos,
Follow me!
discovering heroes in the Bible. They'll have fun while they learn God's Word. The Superbook Kids Bible app, available on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
Young people, millennials, are flocking to church.
It's not an exaggeration to say that we love to meet them and that we love to know their stories.
You know where Wales is, right?
I do.
Well, guess what? CBN Superbook has made its way there.
It absolutely is incredible. CBN has partnered with Sporting Marvels, a Welsh team that tells students about Jesus. Since January of 2015, students have been using curriculum with Superbook's design and content. It's taught in 17 schools and covers Old and New Testament heroes, as well as how to live as a Christian. Thanks to Superbook, 2,000 children have been taught, and over 1,000 children's Bibles have been handed out to build each child's faith in Jesus Christ. The impact of Superbook around the world continues.
You know, Griffith is a Welsh name.
It is.
Almost
Wendy
every
Griffith.
other person in Wales, their last name is Griffith or Griffiths.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm exaggerating. But anyway.
Thanks a lot for joining us this week.
Until next week, goodbye and God bless you.